Howdy, everyone. Aunt B, lemon pie, cement shoes. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. As we get closer, I'm going to give a little bit of a definition to everybody how this is going to work tonight. I have not seen a single one of the questions tonight. Every single one of them is new to me. Cement Shoes wrote them up. My daughter made the slides, and I am going to be seeing the questions the first time, just like you. So let's hope we all do better. Mike Stevens, Elizabeth Bollinger, good evening. Hello. Now, let's see here. We'll give it about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to make an announcement before I tell everybody how this is going to work. But I hope everyone had a great week. Hi there, Will in chat. Hello, Mel. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. We are playing serial killer and killer trivia. I hope that that everybody is brushed up on their serial killer trivia for the week. I don't know how hard the questions are. I guess I was saying earlier, I haven't seen any of the questions, so I'm going to be seeing them at the same time you will be seeing them. And it's the same format: A, B, C, or D, or if inner P's shows up, E, F, G, H, and I, and every other letter of the alphabet apparently is an option. Good evening, Reichardt. Welcome to tonight's trivia. So, serial killer trivia. Tonight's questions are all put together by Cement Shoes, except for I do believe my daughter said that there are 2 bonus questions, and there's one question from the actual ones that Cement Shoes sent in or find information on. So she had to change one question. It's just a true or false question. But the slides were done by my daughter, Elizabeth. The music you hear currently right now is by the Mini Vandals. And I am your host with the mostest. Shady Man MI5. Hello, guys. Long time no see. Hello, Shady Man MI5. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us tonight. Purple, good evening. Got to say shit. Good to see you, Shady Man. Jennifer Hill. Hi, Elizabeth. All right. So, same format as always, A, B, or C. I'm seeing these questions the same time you are. We have exactly 1 more minute until 60 seconds until I'm supposed to start it, because she's monitoring this while it goes. Good evening, everyone in the chat. Good evening. Good evening, Purple. Don't forget to, say thank you to Cement Shoes for putting these questions together for us, everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind, but at least tell Cement Shoes thank you. It was really nice of Cement Shoes to take time out of their week, and put these questions together for us. So, Will, you look like a gang member with that beanie hat. I'm warm. Right now, Reichardt, it is 23 degrees right here where I am outside, but in my studio, it's a little bit around 36 degrees. So I haven't been in here that long. I just turned the heat on maybe an hour ago. So, but thank you. What's up, SA? All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First question. I'm going to put myself in my little box down here. A little box. There you go. Will in his little box. Little box. Little box. First question for the night. 8 degrees here in Wyoming. Oh, I'm sorry. First question for tonight is question 1. Which serial killer was actually arrested on Halloween? Oh boy. Sorry. The options are A, Albert Fish, B, Anthony Sowell, C, Ed Kemper, D, Ed Gein. I know when 2 of them were arrested. I don't know when Anthony or when Ed Gein was arrested. What date of the month? Arrested on Halloween. Something tells me that Ed Gein was arrested more towards the winter time. I'm just using my logical deduction for some reason, because he's wearing in the pictures he's wearing that big red like flannel jacket, kind of like what I'm wearing. So I would think it'd be colder. Would that be October? Because I know when Ed Kemper was arrested. Well, no, actually, I take that back. Now, because he's been arrested, you know, was it the arrest? Could it be the arrest of when he killed his grandparents? Or the arrest when after he killed and then called the officer and confessed? What does everybody else think? Mel's going with C. I have no idea who these killers are. I'm new to the genre. Well, Carrie, welcome anyways. Maybe you'll learn something tonight. Out of all of the ones that are there, the 4 options, Carrie, I think that Ed Kemper is probably is a brilliant mastermind. He, at least after he killed his grandparents, he convinced by memorizing the state psychology test to make sure to see if he was able to be released from prison. He memorized it and then gave them the answers that they wanted to hear. And so much to the point where they're like, "Oh, you're cured. You can go home now." And then he became what's called the co-ed killer in California. Very interesting man. He's still alive and in prison. But I think he's the most interesting of the 4. Ed Gein's the monster. So is Albert Fish. I'm gonna go with B, Anthony Sowell, because he's the one that I know the least about. But for some reason, I'm drawn to D, because of the jacket that he's wearing and the photographs that I can remember. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we get the question. The very next is going to give us a brief description that Cement Shoes wrote out, and is going to give us the answer. So I have nothing in front of me. I don't even have the printouts. You know, my daughter took all that stuff. So, all right, here we go. Question. The answer to number 1 is B. Ooh, I got it right. October 29th, 2009, Cleveland Police Department stepped into an actual house of horrors, discovering the skeletonized remains of 11 women. Sowell was arrested 2 days later on October 31st, 2009. That was a lucky guess on my part. He's the one that I know the least about. And I was drawn to D just because of the jacket that Gein was wearing in that photograph. That's a good question, Cement Shoes. Good question. You stumped me on that one, and I just got lucky and guessed. Rocky Road Lady, good evening. Welcome. Samantha Buster McDowell, Seminary spouse in the Cricket Ferris, Northern Ireland. Brr. Yes, that is cold. All right. On to the next question. Question 2. What serial killer caused the husband and father of 2 of the serial killer's own victims to be executed for murder? The options are A. Joel Rifkin, B. Carl Panzam, C. Samuel Little, or D. John Christie. What serial killer caused a husband and father of two of the serial killer's own victims to be executed for murder? Well, I can rule out one, two, maybe two. I can rule out Samuel Little from that. He was more than happy to confess to, in the end, to just about everything that he ever did before he died. Died, in the hospital at the penitentiary in California. So I can rule him out. Carl Panzram. Joel Rifkin. John Christie. Why am I drawing a blank on John Christie? The name is not ringing a bell with me right now. Carrie is guessing A. Joel Rifkin. Mike is guessing Betty Grable. I mean, it might as well. I mean, caused the husband and father of two of the serial killer's own victims to be executed for murder. Is it from England? Is that why I'm drawing a blank on it? For some reason, I don't know why, but my mind for the name John Christie, I'm not drawn to England for some reason, but I am connecting him for some reason to another case. But I don't know if that's just my mind, or if it's actually something I should remember. Okay, I knew it wasn't Little. Hello, Louise. No idea Christie's filling. I'm going Mike filling in for Inner Peace tonight. There you go. Oh, you know what? For some reason I'm connecting John Christie to another murder or another case, another murderer. I'm gonna go with D as my guess. I have to tell you the truth. If I had to put a percentage on any one of these names, I'd put it at 10%, if that. I have no idea. You stumped me on this one for good. What is the answer to question 2? D. Ooh, I'm 2 for 2. Two of Christie's victims were Bethel Evans and her baby daughter Geraldine. This case sparked huge controversy after Timothy Evans, Bethel's husband and Geraldine's father, was charged with murder and hanged in 1950. Christie followed him to the gallows 1953 and hanged by the same executioner as Evans. Not even close to why I was guessing D. Not even close. I was connecting the name John Christie to a completely, I thought he was like connected to another murderer. I mean, it's a lucky guess just by using the like, I knew it wasn't the 2 of the 4. Wow, that's messed up. Why haven't I read about this case? See, that's what it goes to show you. You can't know everything about serial killers and killers, right? That's the first time ever reading anything about this. Huh. All right. Question 3. Question 3 is true or false? Elaine Wuornos and her future partner in crime, Tyrone Moore, met in a bar that shared the same name as another serial killer. What? Elaine Wuornos We know who she is. And her future partner, Tyrene Moore, met in a bar that shared the same name as another serial killer. What, like the Gacy Inn or something like that? Or the Dahmer Tavern? Bundy Pub? Well, what the hell can it be? The Gin Top? I don't know. False? On B's going with T for true. Reichart, C? She was, Samantha. Out of all the serial killers that I've ever read about, who really deserved pity, and I really don't think that the executing her, the person, was in line. I think it was probably Elaine. I mean, her life was absolute shit from the day she was born. The people that abused her, she was a product of what happened to her. Carrie is guessing false. I mean, what is the likelihood that a bar could be like the Bundy Inn or the Bundy Pub or the Gin Tab or something like that, and it has nothing to do with the murder? Yeah, I'm gonna go with false as well. She only had one I feel sorry for. One I feel sorry for Smith Shoes. Yeah, I'm gonna go false for number 3. I mean, you would think if somebody named their bar after somebody that had an association with like a serial killer, that somebody would say something. Hey, it's probably not a good idea to name your bar the Bundy Pub. Well, I know your name is Ted Bundy, or I know your name is Al Bundy, from like Married with Children, but don't name your pub, after the association of a serial killer. Cheers. Strike 3, you're out. All right, I'm going false for question 3. It's true. In 1986, Wuornos met Moore at a hotel maid at the time at a Daytona Beach gay bar called the Zodiac. The Zodiac. I mean, a Zodiac's a good name for a bar. Would you necessarily associate that with the Zodiac Killer? That's a good one. Good evening, RJ, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Zodiac, though. I don't know if I'd necessarily associate that with, the Zodiac Killer. Maybe it'd be okay because you associate it with like the Zodiac sign, with astrology, stuff like that, horoscopes. I don't know if I necessarily, associate it with a, killer. But it's still a good question, though. Okay, next question. Question 4. The cannibal killer stated that he would not eat people with tattoos. Who was this killer? The cannibal killer. A. Jeffrey Dahmer. B. Amari Muse. B. Mark Latunsky. Or D. Izzy Sagawa. Izzy Sagwa? Yeah, I don't know. The cannibal killer. Cannibal killer. Shady MI5 is going with A. You guys got to help me with this one. Wasn't Dahmer. They're all 4 cannibals and killers. Are they? Well, I know D is, and A, but are they're all cannibals? I mean, what was one of them called the Cannibal Killer? Or let's go with C. Mark Latunsky. A. Dahmer is the only one I heard of, and he was a cannibal. Yeah, he's definitely a cannibal. B's going with D. Anyone care for a pork sandwich? No. Pork, isn't that the other white meat? The new white meat? These are good questions, but pretty difficult. I'm gonna go with D as well. D again, because I know he was a cannibal. I know Jeffrey was, but I'm not sure about the other two. But that's just my guess. They're all cannibals. They all cannibalized their victim. They all did. Okay, that's from Cement Shoes this time. So I only know about Dahmer. I wouldn't eat a pork chop. You could eat a pork chop right now, Carrie? I haven't had pork chops in a long time. Yuck. No, you're definitely being original, Cement Shoes. But my guess is D. D isn't dog. It's A. Jeffrey Dahmer. Well, everybody knew about Dahmer being a cannibal. I mean, but I knew about Isagawa, however you pronounce his stupid name. Chicken fingers. So I changed to D. Mel did it. Dahmer hated tattoos. That's true. They're only difficult if you don't know the answers. All right, next question. Oh. Went too far. This bold killer applied for a position with the LAPD. That's the Los Angeles Police Department. While actively committing murder, so bold, he even went along on ride-alongs with officers. Who was this? Well, I know it wasn't D. I know it wasn't C. That leaves Joseph D'Angelo and Kenneth Bianchi. A or B? Samantha's going with Big Ed. Starfire, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Starfire. I hope you had a wonderful week. Definitely Kenneth Beyond. Well, that's the one I'm leaning towards too. Mike is B. Hey, Will, good vibes. Good vibes to you as well, Starfire. Carrie's like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just token. There you go. Smoke them if you got them. Right card's going with D. Let me see. With Dean. You saw the movie. See, I can rule out D because Ed Kemper wanted to be a cop, but he didn't. I don't think he got that far into the process to wanting to be a cop because they pretty much told him right off the bat, he was too big to be a cop. Dean, I don't think ever left his state, and I believe he's from Texas or someplace like that, not from the state of California. And Dean has another nickname, but I don't know if that's going to be another question, so I don't want to give it up. Sending you pizza. Thank you, Shady, for the super chat. Shady Man, MI5. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Well, what if there's a little cartoon car next to my name? I can't see the YouTubes because I'm streaming from Restream, so I can't see if you have a little you're talking about the little icon for a channel member. I can't see those right now. Sorry. But if you do have a little police car next to your name, thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate it. Yeah, but here all it just shows me is the icons of where you're actually streaming from. So like everybody on my end has a little red square with the white diamond in it, saying that they're showing me that you're all on YouTube and streaming. You're not to any of the others from any of their platforms like Twitter or to Twitch that I'm streaming to right now. Because otherwise you'd have either the purple with the T for Twitch or the blue, bird for, Twitter. It's a cop car. So it says Shady MI5. All right, so I'm going with B. I'm going with B for this question 5. It is B. Bianchi not only joined ride-alongs, but officers discussed with Bianchi what they knew about the series of murders that he and his partner, Angelo Bruno, were committing. FYI, that's what I thought. Ed Kemper never got too far in the process of becoming an officer to take ride-alongs. I was pretty sure about that with Ed Kemper. A lot of people remember Ed Kemper wanted to be a police officer. Next question. This serial killer had a rare genetic condition where his blood was one type sample and was different from that of his semen sample, making it almost impossible for police to charge him. Who was it? Oh boy. Was it A, David Berkowitz, B, Jack Unterweger, C, Andre Chicalito, or D, Paul Bernie Bernardo? This serial killer had a rare genetic condition where his blood and semen were different. Huh. I don't remember hearing anything about that with Berkowitz. And why did Berkowitz do anything where they would need to even look for a semen sample? I don't think so. I'll tell you guys right now, I can rule this down to, I'm pretty sure I know which one it is. We got C, Lemon Pie's going with A. Samantha's guessing D. I guess I'm sheepy, but I don't. I have heard similar in other cases. Jay Hughes, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Is guessing C. What's semen? Male ejaculate, for those who don't know. All right, for all those who are guessing D, you can rule Paul Bernie Bernardo out. I know it's not him, but I don't think that I'm trying to think about Berkowitz. Berkowitz didn't do anything sexual. His crimes were rage oriented. So that, to me, that would leave B and C. And I'm almost certain it's C. You only know A? Navy guys? Billy Cat. Good evening, Billy Cat. I hope you had a wonderful week, and thank you for joining us tonight for trivia. All the questions tonight are from Cement Shoes, except for the 2 bonus questions. But Cement Shoes put all the questions together, and my daughter put together all the slides. So I haven't seen them before. Hello, Gayla. Good evening. Will in chat listening while cooking dinner. Okay. Well, Gayla, question 6 is a serial killer had a rare genetic condition where his blood was one type sample and was different from his semen sample, making it almost impossible for police to charge him. Who was it? And the options are A, David Berkowitz, B, Jack Unterweger. I think that's how you pronounce it. Unterweger. I don't know. C, Andre Chicalito, or D, Paul Bernie Bernardo. Now, I know it's not D, but because I told my daughter this when she asked about him. I don't know if she put it in the slide or not. I think she was going to. Mike Stevens says it's definitely not Elaine Wuornos. It's definitely not her. We can rule her out on this one. We can definitely rule her out. But my daughter to me about this man D. I remember her asking me about it, but I didn't know what question it was on or what was it in reference to. Andre sounds like a freak, says Jay Hughes. Probably they're all freaks. I mean, David Berkowitz got off on watching people suffer, and violence. That was his thing. He was just a nutcase. All right. Question 6. So I'm going with C on this one. And the answer is C. C was correct. All right, I'm going to remove my picture here for a minute so I can read the side note. Damn it. It was initially released because the crime scene did not match his blood type. I accidentally, without ever knowing it, interviewed 2 members of his family for a special that we were working on, The Highway of Tears, which is a series of murders that took place in Canada. And his family was actually part of I think altogether there's like 80 different interviews. But I knew of this guy's family, but I didn't know that they were in there, that we actually spoke with them until after the fact. It wasn't like I knew it. It was like I interviewed them or talked to them. And then later on, I was like, is when I realized, hey, I know who you are. They're relatives of Paul's first wife, who still resides in that area. But anyways, in 2020, interviewed relatives of Paul Bernardo at the Highway of Tears in Canada without knowing they were connected to this monster. This special has never been released because of broadcast rights issues. And it's still, even now 2 years later, we're still dealing with that. In case you're not aware of who Paul Bernardo he was a schoolgirl rapist, or the Scarborough rapist in Canada. But yeah, I can't remember what his first wife's name is off the top of my head, though. But I remember that they're relatives. It's like we interviewed like an aunt and an uncle or something like that of his first wife. But my daughter had asked who this guy was because she didn't recognize the name. Get my cursor over to the next screen. All right. I'll put myself back in my little box here in just a second. All right, question 7. 2 different serial killers have required the people wanting to write them to actually fill out an application for dubious privileges. Who are they? A. Jeffrey Dahmer and Ed Kemper. B. Todd Glup and Robert Durst. Wow, what a freak. C. Ted Bundy and Charles Manson. Or D. Dennis Rader and John Gacy. That should be John Wayne Gacy for everybody. I don't know why she didn't put the middle name in there. Little Will. I put myself in my little window now. Boop, boop. Hello. C. Ted and Charles. Josh Duggar. Say me. Mel. That's Mel. Judah. Destiny. Good evening, Judah. Welcome to tonight's trivia. And I'm truly sorry if I missed anybody else joining and I didn't say hello or welcome you to tonight's trivia. I've never seen these questions, so if I happen to pause and start talking through them, I'm just trying to, in my mind, trying to find a way to figure out what the answer is as well. What I'm doing basically is just like using deduction of reasoning. It's like, do I think it was this person or is that one? This one I know the answer to. I know this one. Inner Peas, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Inner Peas. Inner Peas is going right off the bat, jumping in there. E. Lawrence Welk and Elvis Presley. Oh, purple. Josh Duggar and Jared Lasik. Aunt B. Rader and Gacy. Jared Lysick. Yeah. Hey, Will. All the questions tonight, except for the 2 bonus questions, are from courtesy of Cement Shoes. So all the questions, except, well, actually, there are 3 of them. So one that she substituted out, and then the 2 bonus questions. But thank you again to Cement Shoes. It is 12:40 p.m. in Sydney from the land down under. Well, thank you, Judah, for joining us tonight, or early this morning for you. Give her a minute to to guess on this one, or if you know it, answer. But I definitely know the answer to this one. Thank you, Cement Shoes. Yes. It is 1:40 a.m. in Great Britain. Well, Ireland, where Samantha Muster McDowell is. Weirdo Jared 2.0. 1:40 a.m. in the UK. All right, so Ireland and the UK is on the same time zone, apparently. Then that's cool. I didn't know that. I would think that they're closer, on the globe. I wouldn't know if they were on the same time zone, but now I do. It is 7:40 p.m. in Iowa. Iowa. Shout out for Iowa. Got a hair in my eye. Now it's gone. 7:40. It is 5:40 here on the Pacific Coast. Well, I'm nowhere near the coast, but I am in the Pacific time zone. Northern Ireland is part of the UK. Yes, I know they're part of it. But, you know, I'm looking at when you look at the map, they're not, you know, I wouldn't know. Maybe the time zone goes this way. So, I mean, we have states here in the United States that are split by time zones. Time zones don't make a heck of daylight savings time doesn't make a whole lot of sense nowadays. I mean, it made sense back, you know, here in the United States when they set up the time zones for railroads. It made sense then. It made sense for farming, you know, when we had the United States was a more rural community in the country, but not so much anymore. Jesse Smollett, Juicy Smollett. 541 in Seattle. 541 here on the other side of the mountains, Kerry. We in the same time zone. All right. Well, my guess, ladies and gentlemen, or my answer is D as in dog for question 7. Let's see if I am correct. D is correct. Dennis Rader, the bind, torture, kill idiot, and Pogo the Clown, John Wayne Gacy. Dennis Rader has been described as a self-serving, pompous POS who actually makes people fill out an application to write to him in prison, and prior to his execution in 1994, Pogo, the scary clown Gacy, did the same. You live in a big country. Great Britain and Ireland are small islands. Yeah. All right. Dennis Rader and Pogo the Clown, John Wayne Gacy. I've gotten 0 correctly. Oh. Hopefully then you'll get the next one. Well, I personally met Manson in 1984 at CFM prison in California. Wow. That would scare the living shit out of me to meet him. B has missed one. You're doing good. B, you're... Jen Lu, good evening, Jen Lu. Hi, sorry I'm late. Cement Shoe sent me. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you had a terrific week, Jen. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, we're going on to the next question. Question 8, true or false? Aaron Hernandez was the NFL's only serial killer. Aaron Hernandez, in case you don't remember who he is, he was a tight end for the New England Patriots. And when he first joined the team, a lot of players, they try to act all gangster and everything when they first come into the NFL, that they're all badasses and everything. Well, little did anyone know, Aaron Hernandez was really a gangster. And he was really, a real life thug. He was, I guess if you could call him, legit. He was OG. Yeah, I know. I'm terrible at slang, and street slang and all that. Aaron, hey, Aaron, true. Was he the only serial killer in the NFL? Is the question. True or false? We have false, true, perhaps you intimidated him. Very glad you made it, Jin Lu. Was Aaron Hernandez Aaron Hernandez was the only NFL serial killer. Was that a true statement or a false statement? What do you guys think? Was he the only serial killer? Do 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 do. I think Manson thought women were beneath him. There's a very good point to that, Mike. Manson saw women as a means to an end, at least before he was incarcerated for the rest of his life. When he was free, and out there in the public, and he had the Manson Ranch, they were a means to an end. What is NFL? The National Football League, and American football, Samantha, where they play with the ball, they run it, they throw it. And football is not soccer. It's not rugby. Those are different sports. Who knows? I was civilization clothes, dressed in. I didn't know I was a police officer. Starfire's going with false. Ironic that Manson thought anyone beneath him since he was 5'2". Isn't that true? Have you guys seen the interview with the guy who most likely is? I don't know if they ever were able to prove that he is Manson's son. I mean, he looks just like Charles Manson. He's a musician and a part-time actor, but he looks just like Charlie. It's scary, just how much he looks like him. But I think they were going through like genetic testing or something like that to try to prove, that Manson was his father. Not that he cared, all that much that he was. I don't think Aaron is technically a serial killer by definition. Well, how many people do you have to kill to become a serial killer? Or would you be more of a spree killer? That is a very good question, Jen Lu. That is a very good question. He is double, but seems like a really nice guy. Yeah, he is. Well, I mean, he at least in the interview that I saw with him, he was torn by the if Charles Manson was even his father, his biological father. He thought he was, then he thought he wasn't. He was told he was, then he was told he wasn't. I mean, that's gonna mess with your psyche, a lot. 2 or more different places. Well, if we go by 2 or more different places, Aunt B, then just by that definition, Aaron Hernandez, I do believe, would be a serial killer. By that definition, I think he might qualify more as a spree killer, where he, or just a murderer, because he was considered the main prime suspect in at least, I think, 4 different murders, but 2 of them, that's what I think he got convicted of, or 1. I can't remember. It's been a while since that, I didn't like the guy as a football player. I didn't like him, the way he carried himself in the courtroom, and when he offed himself, I was like, so what? I was a huge Aaron Hernandez fan. Was very sorry things went how they did. I think it, definitely, Smith Shoes. I think it could have been, a much different outcome, if he was able to cut ties with the people that he grew up with and got away from that lifestyle, but he never was. But for question 8, I'm going to go with false. If I can get my thing over to the right place to actually click on it. There we go. False. He isn't the NFL's only serial killer. And Randall Brent Whitfield, known as the I-5 killer, was drafted by the Green Bay Packers in 1974. Other serial killers in the NFL include Philip Adams, who killed 6 people, and Robert Roser, who was a complete freak. He killed 7 and ordered the deaths of over 36 people, which were murdered on his command in order to gain importance in the cult he belonged to. So my little window here is blocking the word "to." You guys want to read about a really twisted cult? Look up Robert Roser. Robert Roser is an African American man who belonged to a cult that believed in sacrificing white people on an altar and to gain the strength, the physical strength of those who were killed. And people committed murders to gain importance in this group cult environment. And a lot of people, they don't know how many, this person killed or that person killed. They all had to kill at least one. But, some 4, some killed 5, and then people kind of started exaggerating their numbers. But look him up if you really want to read about a twisted case. There's a couple of really good books on him as well that were written by one was written by a former FBI profiler, but I can't remember the name of the title though. Is Idaho the most dangerous place for crime? No. No, it would be a pretty safe state. I just wouldn't want to hang out with anybody that Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell hung out with. All right, next question. Red flags on NFL players? Yeah. Especially those with CTE. But I don't know how long Philip Adams and Robert Roser played in the NFL, but I think Brent was cut pretty early on in his career. Next question. 9. This man abandoned a wife and 4 children in Spain before becoming a notorious serial killer. Was it A, Raymond Martinez Fernandez, or B, Florence Fernandez, C, Luis Garavito, D, Albert Del Salvo, who abandoned their wife and 4 children? I don't have a clue. I don't know any of these. Well, again, I know who Albert Del Salvo is, but I don't know what any of these other people have done. I'm on pins and needles. It says inner P's. We got B, D, C, B, A, C, D, C. Jen Liu is going with D, Albert Del Salvo. He's the only name that I know on the list. I don't know who these other ones are. Isn't B a lady? Florence Fernandez? It sounds like a lady's name. But I will say, my former father-in-law, his first name was I gotta remember. Okay, so everybody called him Bob, or Robert, but his actual real first name was like Jenny or something like that. That was his real birth name on his driver's license, but everybody called him Bob or Robert. But so again, it could be one of those situations too. Inner Peace, Florence Anderson. No clue on this one. Says Aunt B. Florence was a man. Jenny? Yeah. I tried to come up with ones I haven't heard before. Well, you got me on this one. I'm almost certain it's not D. I mean, Albert Del Savo. I mean, did he have a wife and children before he turned up in New York? I don't know. My high school algebra teacher's name was Shirley Blowers. I don't have a clue. A shot in the dark, it'd be on any of these. If my guess is gonna go with C. Louis Gravavito, Garvavito. I don't even know who that is. I'm just guessing C. Shirley was a big daddy. Well, me and Jay Hughes are gonna guess C. Because I don't have a clue. I mean, I know who Robert Del Savo is. Albert De Salvo, Robert De Salvo. I think his first name was, Albert. But maybe I'm just doing that thing in my mind where I'm trying to associate Albert Del Savo and Robert Del Savo as the same person. And they can be totally different people. Gayla's guessing B. Smoke him if you got him. This is a stressful one. Man. Probably learned a couple of these facts from Will's Serial Killers Trivia last summer. Today, I'm drinking Lipton iced tea. It's really good. My daughter doesn't know that I took it. I stole it from the refrigerator. I figure it's my refrigerator. Thank you, sweetheart, for making tea. I appreciate it. Shirley Crabtree was Big Daddy, a famous wrestler from the 80s. All right, let's see what the answer is for question 9. I'm guessing C. I don't have a clue. All right. It's A. Well, that's another one wrong for me. I think he is overcooked. Yeah, a little burnt, some would say. As a teen, went to work on his uncle's farm in Spain, married at the young age of 20, with 4 children whom he would abandon later before becoming part of the Lonely Hearts Killer. Raymond got the electric chair in 1951 alongside his partner in crime, Martha Black. That's it. Where'd that take place? Do you know, Cement Shoes? Was this in Spain? Yeah, that's why I was going with C. And I figured he had to come from somewhere, right? He tried. He definitely did. Shady every Saturday morning with Dickie Davidson. Okay, next question. Question 10. September 2017, 32-year-old Nathan Sebastian of Wilmer, Alabama, was arrested for the murder of his Susan Mayo, his mother. I don't think she wrote that right. Murder of Susan Mayo. I don't think there's supposed to be his in there. Susan Mayo, his mother, he had stuffed her into a 55-gallon drum and rolled her sweet ass under the porch. Police, as part of a probable cause for noted that Daniel Sebastian is a self-proclaimed fan of what serial killer? Jeffrey Dahmer, and B. Samuel Little, C. John Wayne Gacy, or D. Joel Guy Jr. Oh man, 55-gallon drum. I'm going with Jeffrey Dahmer. That sounds like a Jeffrey Dahmer, fan. Killed his mother and stuffed her in a barrel, a 55-gallon barrel. That sounds like a Gacy thing, because Gacy had 55-gallon barrels all over his apartment. John Wayne Airport Gacy. See, because under the house. Joel Osteen. Inner peace. We're probably going to hell for that one. Because I'm laughing at it. You typed it out. Oh boy. Yeah, I didn't even think about the porch, but that's a porch. A porch is an extension of a house. That wouldn't be something that Gacy did. But then again, Gacy did bury. Didn't he get caught like digging a hole to bury someone in his yard? Maybe I'm thinking. My mind is just awash with so many of them over the years. But I still think it's Jeffrey Dahmer. It sounds like something that a Dahmer fan would do. Stick their mother in a 55-gallon drum. Rolled her sweet ass under the porch. Don't worry, I plan to take over hell when I get there. All right, Jen Lou. Can you save me a room? I scared my knees climbing out. I scraped your knees climbing out. Great scar, yeah. Dahmer messed with acid. All right, I'm gonna read this again and see if there's anything else here I can get garnered from it. Well, it's in Alabama. It's not in the Chicago area or Wisconsin. But he's a fan. Self-proclaimed fan of what serial killer? Wait, his name is Nathan Sebastian. And his mother's name is Susan Mayo. Well, maybe he was named after, took his father's last name. And stuffed her in a 55-gallon drum, rolled her ass under the porch. Police, as part of the probable cause for arrest, noted Nathaniel Sebastian is a self-proclaimed fan of what serial killer? Yeah, I have to go with A. It sounds like something a fan of Jeffrey Dahmer's would do. Jeffrey Dahmer was a freak. Can't believe people are fans of people like that. All right, question 10. It was Gacy. With no basement or crawl space, or the porch of the home just had to do. Once Nathaniel realized law enforcement was going to look under the front porch, he quickly confessed, saying, "Okay, my mama's under the front porch. Y'all got to be joshing me." All these yeah, where all these drums, right? They're actually pretty easy to find. Around here where I live, we have a lot of import-export companies, and we can get these. We can't get 55-gallon drums. But I know where I can get them. But around here, we get a lot of importers who import olives, and they come in a 30-gallon barrel. They're really cool, and I use them in my garden for rainwater. So, but yeah, you have to scrub them out because they smell like fermented, olives, or vinegar when you get them. I still have only missed one. Crime Junkie here. You're doing great, Aunt B. You're doing a heck of a lot better than me. 55-gallon drums scare me. But when it comes to 55-gallon drums, I can go to the company that I used to work for. They're constantly trying to get rid of barrels. They're plastic, but you can't get the metal barrels. Metal barrels everybody wants because they can use them for like burning trash and stuff. But nobody gets rid of the metal ones because they're also recyclable, where the plastic ones are made out of a plastic that's not recyclable. But they always have the plastic ones there. Most of them come had like yucca, like plants that are shredded up. I don't know if you know what a yucca plant is, but that's what most of those barrels have. So it's kind of like a molasses substance that was in the barrels. But they try to clean them out, but they're just one place I know of where you can get them. The plastic ones. We probably can't get just like the baseball bats. Huh. From Alabama. All right. Moving on to the next question. I used them on my allotment. The 55-gallon drums. There you go. I need Sarah Boo trial to start already. Wouldn't that be nice? Question 11. After Leonard Lake chickened out and took his own life, that's supposed to be life, his murder partner, Charles Ning, became a fugitive and fled to the land of maple syrup poutine fries in Hosers, aka Canada. How was he finally apprehended? This has got my daughter written all over it. I think she reworded this question, Cement Shoes. She's a big fan of the Mackenzie brothers. A, passed out on a bench seat. B, after shoplifting fish. C, assault at a church community meal. Or D, ran a stolen car into a parked car. Leonard and Charles. Fugitives have fled to the land of maple syrup poutine fries and Hosers. Completely guessing. Me too. Will love Bob and Doug. SCTV was the best, but yeah, she's a big fan of the Mackenzie brothers. B, passed out. Hey, you hosers. The boy in the box has finally been identified after 50 years. Who was it? I hadn't heard. Leonard took a cyanide capsule in the interrogation room. Samantha, did they announce who the boy in the box was? I just remember, if that picture that they drew for the sketch. Can't remember details though. Okay. Well, I'll have to look it up after this. Okay, time to try to figure out an answer here. How was he finally apprehended in Canada? Huh. Something, in my mind reminds me of one of them, but I don't think that was him. Assault at a church community meal. Ran a stolen car into a parked car. Pretty dumb. Well, they're all pretty dumb, especially if on the run. I don't think it's C. I'm gonna rule out C and D. Passed out at a bus seat, or shoplifting. Brooks has filed notice of appeal. He will be using a lawyer. Really? He doesn't want to act as his own attorney? I'll be so sad, but bittersweet. Last Supper. Question 11. I'm going to go with B. I mean, it could be any of them, but I think maybe B. But I think I'm thinking of another case, though. Who was it that I'm thinking of something completely different. Something where the father made the children shoplift. Yeah, I know, right? Not very much help, am I? Box 4. Grounds. Who steals fish? I don't know. Homeless people? Objection, Will? Lawful law? My guess is B. Shoplifting fish. Sounds stupid. I mean, he wasn't the brightest one of the two. Leonard Lake was the, obviously the one that was the calling the shots. And he took his his own life and got out of there. Jin Lu overruled. You're thinking of Robert Durst, who stole a sandwich. Well, that's true. Robert Durst also confessed while still wearing a microphone, too. And there's a lot of dumb criminals out there that have done a lot of dumb things. Yeah, it was B. July 6, 1985. Man arrested in the Great White North. But I told you she's a fan of the McKenzie brothers, the Great White North, from their newscast. Hosers. By those guys, yeah, with the funny hats. Nah, yeah, not on in Calgary. Not the ones with the stripes, you hosers. The Crown Boys. After being shot a security guard in the hand during a struggle. Yeah. He was stealing a cheap can of nothingness tuna from the Hudson Bay Boys. Jeez, that's not good. I'm gonna have to show her how to spell some of those. Should have been, instead of A-H, it should have been E-H to make a different sound. Yeah. But it was B. I got that one right. Lucky guess. Prayers for Athena Strand, 7 years missing from Texas. Take off, eh? All right, let's go on to question 12. Question 12. This well-known horror film featured a now convicted murderer in a bit part. This killer was also a suspect in a series of unsolved slayings of gay men from the Manhattan, New York area, which he had boasted about while in jail, though he was never charged with. Did he appear in A, The Exorcist, B, Rosemary's Baby, C, Amityville Horror, or D, Omen? I highly recommend all 4 movies. Those are 4 excellent movies. Out of them all, I would go with Rosemary's Baby as my favorite out of them all. Although the first Exorcist was pretty damn good too. But I like the Rosemary's Baby. That was a pretty good one. Amityville Horror, I didn't. It's kind of hard to believe that a house is haunted and out to kill you. Omen was pretty good. I mean, they're all good movies, but Rosemary's Baby is my favorite from that list. What movie was this murderer in? I don't know. Can I go with E, all the above? The Omen is your favorite shitty man, MI5? Omen was pretty good. Caroline! Caroline! I think The Exorcist was a pretty good series, overall. All the different, ones in The Exorcist. I like that little old lady that came to try to, get rid of the, what was going on. And as she walked, you could hear the flask sloshing. Rosemary's Baby was the first horror movie I ever watched. Rosemary's Baby is a good movie. I mean, they're all good movies. Amityville Horror was my least favorite of all 4 of them, but they're all still good movies. Good movies. Jen Liu has no idea, and total guess. I'm still having nightmares from The Omen. They don't make them like these anymore. Nothing beats 70s horror movies, says Cement Shoes. I don't know. I think Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween was pretty good. Tiny Tim was at our grandmother's Christmas several years ago. He smelled bad. Tiny Tim? Really? B, A? I have no idea on this one. He was in a bit part in the movie, but he was a suspect in a series of unsolved slayings of gay men from the Manhattan, New York area. Nothing there that gives me a clue. That could be a half dozen. That could be the New York Ripper, because those ones were never solved. Somebody who was a bit actor where was the movie filmed? I don't know. I mean, I know part of The Exorcist was filmed in Texas, but the rest of it was probably filmed in California. Rosemary's Baby, maybe. It's more centralized to, that area. The Omen. Like to change your answer to A? You can change your answer to anything you want, Jen Liu. Change it to A if you want. Which one do I think is less likely? Nothing jumps out at me as less likely. Maybe Amityville Horror? Maybe. That one, maybe just because of the geographic location. But I mean, it doesn't mean that the actor didn't travel. I mean, hell, we know like Samuel Little traveled the United States killing women. So why would he not be a suspect in Michigan on a murder when he was in California later on? I can maybe so I'd have to have A, B, or D. I'm gonna go with B. Mary's baby. No, your husband's cousin. Rosemary's Baby for 400 says Aunt B. Aunt B, I'm going with that. I'm going with Rosemary's Baby. That's my guess. There weren't many people in Amityville Horror. It was mainly the core cast. Yeah, but there were also there weren't a whole lot of people in Rosemary's Baby either. But it says bit part, and that could be somebody who is like an extra. It could be somebody that you don't even think about until you watch the movie again. And it's just like a tiny person or somebody who they walk by them. It's a doorman at in a movie. That's a bit part. But I'm going. My guess is B. Rosemary's Baby. Samantha's going with D. The Omen. All right, let's find out what it is. Question 12. It's A, The Exorcist. Paul Bateson is a former radiographer and radiological tech in the scene from the 1993 movie, convicted of killing journalist Addison Burrill. I've never heard of Paul Bateson. I'm sorry. I have no idea who Paul Bateson is. But I was off on The Exorcist. Whoop, whoop, says Aunt B. I'll give you £1 if you get the next correct answer. Linda Blair was ruined after that movie. That's that. I have no idea who Addison Burrill is, and apparently she was a journalist. But I don't know who she is, and I don't know who Paul Bateson is. That's sad. Neither one of the names ring a bell with me at all. E.T. Call Home. All right, going on to the next question. Are you having fun? Tell Cement Shoes thank you. If it's not too much to ask, can I get a thumbs up? All right, I guess a small pitch for me and Cement Shoes on this one. Next slide. Question 13. Must have been bad. Yeah, he killed someone. Question 13. This serial killer duo nearly claimed a famous actor's daughter as one of their victims. Were they A. Lake and Ning, Leopold and Loeb, Bruno and Bianchi, or Morphew in Night Train 2020? Morphew? Barry Morphew in Night Train? Well, funny, but we can rule out D. Well, I can. A, B, or C? Unless Barry Morphew killed more people than just his wife. It's possible. Night Train. Mork and Mindy. Mork from Ork. Nanu Nanu. This serial killer duo nearly claimed the famous actor's daughter as one of their victims. Were they Mork calling Orson? Come in, Orson. Email me some shoes. I'll send you a link. Barney Fife. RJ says Barney Fife. Nanu. I can't believe you found a ham split like the Mork thing. That's cool. I didn't know they had that. Debbie, I will. I think they met in a bar, but the other part, question. I don't know what question you're on, Debbie. We're on question 13. I love Mork and Mindy. Robin Williams was just a true talent. Unfortunately, has taken long before his time, at least for my view. That's what's sad. Sometimes people, they look like they're the happiest individual from the outside. It's about your bedtime, Aunt B. I'm sorry. Opie. It was a big thing in England. I should have answered E. Mountain lion. We had to get the mountain lion in there somewhere. The mountain lion answer. I'm old. None of us are getting any younger, Aunt B. I think Debbie is on the beginning question about Elaine Wuornos. Lansbury moved her daughter to Scotland because her daughter was being befriended by a weird guy. His name. For question 13, I'm going with B as in boy. Leopold and Loeb. Let's see if I'm right. No, it was C. Angela Bruno and Kenneth Bianchi, known as the Hillside Stranglers. They picked up a young woman and intended to murder. Then they discovered that her father was Peter Lorre, the legendary actor. Not wanting the heat, they let her go. Well, I was off on that one. Jay Hughes, bullseye. What is Bear and Show for the win? Rats, I forgot Mountain Lion was an option. Yeah, maybe it'll come up on the next one. I don't know. The Hillside Stranglers. Question 14. This is the question that my daughter replaced from the list. True or false, sexual motivation is a driving force in greater than 90% of serial killers? I know the answer. I know the answer to this one. They were cousins. Question 14, true or false, sexual motivation is a driving force in greater than 90% of serial killers? Jay Hughes is going false. Starfire, false. Rocky Road Lady, false. Aunt B, false. Power and control, says Aunt B. Here in America has some. Here's America has some serious killers. Yes, we do. We're good at one thing around this damn country. Freedom, America, and serial killers. We're pretty good at both of those. We found multiple ways to kill each other. True, but and Debbie's going with B. You're on the wrong question, Debbie. The answer to question 14 is false. Sexual motivation is not a driving force in serial killers. It's not. Who put somebody actually had the answer. This must be a question she changed. Yes, Cement Shoes. I tried to email you about it, Ted Kaczynski. Somebody actually had the answer up here. I'm trying to find it. Aunt B had it. Aunt B, you give yourself an extra point there. Before I even show the answer, you're absolutely correct. The answer is false. A sexual motivation of serial killers is less than 30%. The main motivation is physical and emotional control, with the intent to them and oddly themselves as well. That is very true. Followed by a sexual release gratification that may have nothing to do with sexual intercourse. That is true. Necrophilia is only expressed in less than 6% of all known serial killers. Role-playing, i.e. dressing the victim and redressing them to take on the part of a surrogate mother, is more widely practiced in about 28% of serial killers. I thought it was higher than that, but she's got in here 28%. This holds true for both men and women who qualify as serial killers. Very true. But I thought it was higher than 28%. I thought it was closer to 30% for the role-playing part. They redress and dress, the victim as, to take on the part of a surrogate mother role. Bundy did it. Ridgway did it. There's been so many, but those two right off the top of my head, pop in, that did this over and over again. And of course, they also practiced necrophilia, but they definitely, it was part of their release, like psychological release. They redressed them and brushed their hair, reapplied makeup, everything. Well, darn, I only just saw the email. I haven't checked it, but I'll send you the info because I think it would make an interesting video. Okay, thanks, Mitches. Brady. Next question. What two serial killers were briefly employer and employee? Was it A, Fred West and Ian Brady? B, Nico Jenkins and Anthony Sowell? C, Robert, how do you pronounce that? Getch? I don't know, and John Wayne Gacy? Or D, Joseph D'Angelo and Dean Coral? Employer and employee. Wow. I don't think it was Fred West and Ian Brady, but Fred West did have work done at his house, so in that situation, he would be the employer. Ian Brady, I don't know. Nico Jenkins and Anthony Sowell. Gacy was a contractor. It was a subcontractor and contractor. Before he went to work for himself, he worked for other people. So he would be maybe an employee. Was he an employee of this Robin Chet, or however you pronounce it? Joseph D'Angelo. No, I'm going to rule out D, because Dean Coral, someone could have worked. He could have been the employer, Candyman. He could have been, the employer, but I don't think D'Angelo would have been an employee or vice versa. So I'm ruling out D. And interesting about C is the amount of different jobs that Gacy had. Where I mean, and hell, I mean, this other guy could have worked for KFC. Because Gacy had a KFC restaurant, or like managed it. At one point, he would have been the employer. And it was this Robin guy an employee? Anthony Sowell had quite a few different jobs. He could have been an employee. I don't think he was ever, in a position to be an employer. Maybe he was. Maybe there's some tiny little part of his life where he hired somebody to do something, and Nico Jenkins was it. Yeah, this is a good question, Cement Shoes. KFC, that's foul. F, Michael Jackson. Yeah. Anthony Sowell had a lot of different, jobs that were middle. But would he have ever hired somebody, in his life? I mean, it can be something as obscure like, he needed somebody to paint his residency, or paint after, cleaning up after something, or an auto mechanic. And so he would be the employer, and then the other person would be the employee. But I keep on coming back to Fred West and Ian Brady. Were they even in the same location? Because I know Fred and Rosemary had work done at their home. They had concrete work. They had structural work on the place, which is gone, by the way. They tore that whole place down. It's now a walking path with trees. But Ian Brady. I don't know. What do you guys think? Adam West and Tom Brady? A. I'm still going with A. I think this is my favorite question too. Can't wait to see the answer. Because all of these, except for D, I can rule out that one just because of D'Angelo. But any of them could be the employer, and any of them could be the employee. I have to go with A. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and guess A. I don't have a clue. And I really don't. It's a damn good question. Cement Shoes. What is the answer? C. Gacy hired handyman Robin, whatever the hell you pronounce that, as a subcontractor. Turned out he was part of the Chicago crime group called the Ripper Crew, a group of sexual sadists. Wow. Well, he hired him so Gacy was the employer, and he hired him, Robin, as opposed to the other way around. I mean, I was thinking maybe Gacy in that situation was a subcontractor, so the employee to this other person. But it turns out Gacy hired this man as a subcontractor. They had it, obviously, in his construction business. But this guy was part of the Ripper Crew, a group of sexual sadists. Damn. Fred Flintstone and Wilma. Wowzer. That was a damn good question. All right. Let's see here. The next questions are by my daughter. the bonus questions, because I think that was question 15, wasn't it? Yep. Bonus question: true or false? Jeffrey Dahmer's father encouraged young Jeffrey to collect and examine dead animals alongside the road and encouraged him to bring them home for dissection. No, this live isn't fixed. Will knows. It's yeah. I know the answer to this one, but the question is true or false. Jeffrey Dahmer's father, did he encourage him to collect and examine dead animals alongside and encouraged him to bring them home for dissection? Gizzard's lizard. True, it's on Netflix. Gruesome family for sure. Jeffrey Dahmer's father. False. That was Barry Morphew. Barry Morphew. The 17,000, replies that I've gotten in the last week. What about the presumption of innocence? True. Lionel wrote about this in his book, Jen Liu. The Waltons? The Waltons? Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Mary Lou. Good night, Grandpa. I used to watch the Waltons when I was younger, when it was on TV. Had to tune in the rabbit ears on the television to get to come in. Michael learned. Roadkill. I actually knew somebody who, at one time in his life, worked for the Roadkill crew. He worked in Alaska, and it's a very serious job. A lot of people hit, deer and moose and stuff. But a lot of time the moose survive. But he actually worked as a roadkill cleanup. But a lot of that, the animals that they would find, they cleaned them up, and if there was anything usable from them, they went to like deer. They would turn them over to the native tribes. I need to read Lionel Dahmer's book, Mystery. Good night, everyone. Good night, Aunt B. All right, the bonus question. True or false? Jeffrey Dahmer's father encouraged young Jeffrey to collect and examine dead animals alongside the road and encouraged him to bring them home for dissection. The answer is true. He later said that it was a way to connect with the young man who he loved deeply, but couldn't find a way to communicate with him because Jeffrey was in his own world. Jeffrey would eventually kill himself, and he felt him slipping away into a deep depression. Dumb and Dumber. Dumber. All right, next question. Serial killer bonus question number 2. And I do believe this is the last question. 80% of serial killers that have been caught and interviewed have reported an abnormal sexual drive bordering on a sexual addiction. What is the number one turn on for them in a partner, male or female? Is it A, brown, long, straight hair, B, body figure, C, being dead, or D, willing to take chances? their turn on, their sexual number one turn on for a partner. My brother would clean up houses of horror, suicides within the house. I've seen YouTube videos on that. Where I went down this rabbit hole where I started watching Mortician. I can't remember what her name is though, but she talks about crime. You know, she's like a licensed mortician. I started watching her channel, and then I started watching all these other suggested videos, and one of them was like A&E or something like that, videos about murder and suicide cleanups of crime scenes. Do you mean to say that both were killers? Huh? Dr. G? I can't remember. I think the channel was something Mortician, crime scene, you know, or Mortician something or other. I can't remember what her name is. It's been a while, but I started going down to the medical examiner. But I started watching these, you know, this Mortician. She has like a crime channel. I watch a lot of stuff, you know. So I'll tell you guys after this question. FB Archie going with B. Shady, I have a photo of me standing outside of 25 Cromwell Street 2 weeks before demolition. Wow. Yeah, that's where the West family lived. But it's a walking path in trees now, I believe. At least the last Google picture I saw of it. Yeah, that's what they had done with it. Just because of the differences in serial killers and their different motivations, you know, of like why they kill, I'm gonna get rid of A, B, and that leaves just C and D. I mean, risk taking definitely has to be some kind of turn on for them. I don't know. Katie, good evening. Katie's going with D. I'm gonna go with C. I mean, that's complete control, right? If they're dead. But risk taking at the same time, though. I mean, if they're a serial killer. But the question has to do with sexual drive, though. And we know that from earlier questions tonight that necrophilia is, you know, it's very rare compared to other things that serial killers, you know, practice. So would it be a sexual motivation that is their turn on of them being dead? But now it doesn't say that they want to kill. That 80% of serial killers that have been caught and interviewed have reported an abnormal sexual drive, bordering on a sexual addiction. What is the number one turn on for them in a partner, male or female? Because there have been quite a few serial killers, that, you know, also that, you know, what do they call them? Gender fluid. They don't consider themselves either heterosexual or homosexual, and they're willing to have sex with either gender, you know, gender neutral. I don't know. I'm going to guess C. I don't have a clue. It was C. Even though we know they don't practice necrophilia in large percentages, less than 6%, they do, however, find the dead as a sexual attraction. That is super creepy. Well, that's what it says right there on the screen. Super creepy. A bowl of Cheerios. All right. I'm going to remove myself in the picture here for a second. The world's largest study ever conducted on serial killers was completed in 1990 by the U.S. Department of Justice, along with M. Newton. It's actually Michael Newton. They reviewed several hundred cases of serial killers, 5,336 to 6,368 victims, and several hundred killers, 544, and over 700 single murderers. Sadly, this survey is no longer downloadable or printable, but it is no longer available. It is called Hunting Humans Encyclopedia, an encyclopedia of modern serial killers, printed by Lupanics Unlimited Press of Port Townsend, Washington. I have tried several times to get a hold of that book. It's actually not a book. It's I think it's about 700 pages, and it comes in a 3-ring binder. I've yet to be able to find it, and there's a lot of libraries that have it as a reference, that you can, have it sent from one library to another, like your local library. But I wish I could get a hold of this. Hunting Humans, and an encyclopedia of modern serial killers. That's it. That is all the questions. So did you have fun? I will tell everybody right now again, I appreciate Cement Shoes for putting together the trivia answers, tonight in questions. Some of them really stumped me. I had no idea. I was the lucky guess on probably about 5 or 6 of them. Doing logic, deduction, from some of the people from it. I kind of narrowed down and give me better odds of guessing them, but going lighter, Samantha. Maybe steal it from the library. Don't think so. I've written them, to that address. I don't know if that address is, like it says there, if that address is even as valid anymore. That PO box, kind of an odd place, for a reference guide to be, for a printing company. You would think it'd be like in New York or in Virginia or someplace, but Port Townsend, Washington. I don't know if anybody else has ever been to Port Townsend. I have, quite a few times. There isn't much in Port Townsend. There isn't much there. But I would just love to have it as a reference, guide. I think it'd be fun to read. But then again, if it was done on a scientific level, if they were, forensically examining, all these cases, it might be pretty boring to read at the same time. For serial killer parents? Ooh. That, what do you guys think? Would you guys want to do one on serial killer parents? The Cement Shoe says, if everyone enjoyed it, I have an idea for trivia on serial killer parents. A brilliant live, says Shady Man, MI5. Yes, Cement says RJ. Yes, says Purple. thumbs up from Inner Peas. I really want everyone to enjoy this and have fun. This community is full of great people. Oh, thank you, Cement Shoes. I think it'd be interesting. I don't know anything that I know of off the top of my head about serial killers, except for Ted Bundy's. I know a lot about his mom, and his adopted father. I know a lot about those two. What other serial killers, parents do I know anything about? Not a lot. I know about some serial killers' siblings. So I think it'd be fun. Listen to Flattened in the War. I have no idea what they're talking about. I love the beat background sound. Yeah, this is the Mini Vandals. It's music from YouTube's copyright-free library. So, this entire track, Reichardt, is 4 hours and 27 minutes. And it's free. The whole track is available for anybody to use. You can use any part of it, cut it up, sample it for anything you want. I don't know a lot, but we'll have fun looking up some bizarre facts. Well, thank you, Cement Shoes. I appreciate it. If anybody else has any other ideas, I mean, I'm more than happy to, to take other ideas. But I think it'd be interesting about, serial killer parents, because, when you think about it, though, you don't really learn a lot about the actual, where do these serial killers come from? I mean, we all have to come somewhere, right? From somewhere, right? And they made a huge deal out of, Bundy's parents, and his family. That's part of like the MO of the, the lore of Bundy. Night all, Purple. Good night. Thank you for joining us. I'm here for the duration regardless. Out of 15 questions, I think I probably got 50%, maybe. It can't have an exact 50%. 7.5 would be 50%. So I probably got 7. I know 5 of them. It was just like a total guess for me. It had to be. But it was kind of fun though, doing it this way, where I didn't even know the answers before we got them. So I was in the dark about what the actual questions were. I was also thinking of doing one on old Hollywood crimes. I thought about doing that, something like that, Cement Shoes, in the past, based on the guy who does Hollywood Graveyard. He did one on Hollywood crimes that was showing the graves, and he talked about these different, like Artie Arbuckle, and the different things that he was involved in, and in his grave. But he's more showing the grave side of it. He wasn't so much focused on what the crimes were. Natalie Wood, like the old Dahlia, Black Dahlia, yeah. Well, that wouldn't be a Hollywood crime necessarily, would it? I mean, I guess it could be. I'll be getting my answers ready. Robert Blake. temporary city. The city has gotten beautiful history and buildings, but I'm moving more to Sheffield. Oh, I know where that is. Sheffield, England. My uncle used to live there in Sheffield. He now is in Belarus. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Belarus. He works for a company that does like trying to think of what the best way to say this is. Actuaries, insurance, but you don't know sides there. You have an easy move. I was reading that, and then it went all the way back down to the bottom. I'm back. Go back up there. Samantha's going great peacefully. Yeah. I don't care if I'm going gray or not. Obviously, you can see from me. Gray. Oh well. Just one of the new colors of life. It's Led Zeppelin, Saturday, November 20th, 1971 from Wembley. I hope you can see it. Led Zeppelin. It's a remake of the original. This one's not one of the original T-shirts, but it had the same design. I don't know that area at all, but I hope all goes well for you. Sean Bean is from Sheffield. Well, thank you. I've for like the last couple of years, I've been going through. I have an enormous T-shirt collection, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, at one point I probably had close to like 400 T-shirts, and most of them are concert T-shirts, you know, from when I was younger. And I went through and I was like, I realized that a lot of them were starting to wear out. You know, stitching's coming loose, or I was getting, you know, they're fraying along the edges after all these years. So I went through and I started to try to find reprints of them, and, you know, so I could put away the originals. I don't know why. I don't know why I do it, but I do. Sometime when me and my wife do another live stream on the Taco Podcast, you have to check it out. But anyways, and I'm for some reason I just can't get rid of them. I can't get rid of the old, and you know, when I bring in the new. But this is a reproduction of the original. Still in the early stages of moving. I don't ever want to move again. And if I do, you know, next time I move, I'm moving to where I want to go. Because I wouldn't be here where I am today if it wasn't for extended family being in this area. if they moved or they passed away, I wouldn't stay here. Wouldn't be here at all. I don't like the area. I'm not, a big fan of the weather. Iron Maiden shirts were most sold. Reichart, I don't own a single Iron Maiden T-shirt. Not one. I have. I mean, when it comes to like metal, music, I've got like some Pantera, AC/DC, Scorpions. Yeah, I don't have any Iron Maiden though. A lot of the concerts I went to were back in the '80s, in the Minneapolis area. I saw so many, concerts. It's unbelievable. I couldn't. If I tried to write them all down, I couldn't. I'd probably miss some, like a good portion of them. That's just the way it was. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's live stream. Thank everybody who is here again, and thank you, Cement Shoes. Fire me an email off. You got my email address. What you're thinking about. If you want to do the parents or old, Hollywood crime trivia, something like that. Send me an email. We'll talk about it. All right. So, in the meantime, everyone, I hope you all have a wonderful night and stay safe out there. And Reichart, I hope you're someplace warm tonight, because that sounds pretty damn cold in Wyoming. If you're anywhere near Cheyenne, you know how the winds blow through there. Thank you, Smith Shoe and Will. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you all stay safe. And if you can get a chance, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., I'm doing another live stream in the morning. It's just a general question, and answer session. So hope you can stop by. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.